Hi, my name is Victoria Male. I am a fangirl. I also co-host a podcast called Your Biggest Fangirl, which is all about being a resource for fangirls to have their own amazing fan experiences, as well as to reduce shame and empower fangirls in the geekdom community. I feel personally in my life that fandom is very cyclical, so it's kind of impossible for me to pinpoint one that has had the most impact, because I feel like just where I am or what I'm experiencing or what I have access to, that it tends to cycle, and all these different fandoms impact me in different ways at different points in my life, that it's really hard for me to qualify it or quantify it rather. So I think when someone hears the term fangirl, they either think of a teenager or a young girl who has pictures of someone all over their bedroom and is crazy and screams outside of stage doors, or they think of a middle-aged, unattractive woman living in their parents' basement who all they do is maybe engage online and they don't really have a life. I think the whole general misconception is that a fangirl is someone who is almost inhibited by their fandom to a certain type of being, which I have found could not be more wrong. To me personally, what a fangirl is someone who is inspired by a piece of artwork, a piece of creativity, and lets themselves fully enjoy it and be consumed by it, and then is perhaps inspired to create on their own something based on, or maybe not even, maybe only tangentially related to that piece of art that they love. So, and who can also have a relationship and have a career and have a full, happy, healthy life. It's not like just because they're a fan of something that is all they are, and they can't have success or sexuality because of it. And everyone fangirls differently, but to me, I think it's a woman who loves a certain story so much that they're compelled to express it in some way. That's just them consuming more and more of that type of content, or telling their friends about it, or creating something because they love something so much. That's what I see as a fangirl. Through my podcast, I've learned how so many women and men have chosen to express their fandoms and how they love certain things. So I try to keep my definition of a fangirl pretty open and loose in general, because I think it's something that's very personal and that there's no right definition of it. I remember being totally captivated by Padme, and not only her strength and how she was strong in a feminine way, but also literally everything that was on her body. All I wanted to do was take in and just get as much as I could of these amazing costumes. It's what keeps me going, this passion, not only for the properties I love and the characters I love, but also the people in this community and this culture, and trying to do my part so that people see this culture for what it is, for the wonderful people that it is. I think in the past, fandom was my refuge. It was where I went when I felt like things were too much, or also where I went when I wanted to have fun and have a good time. It wasn't just this place that I would go when I was hurt. But a lot of my time when I was growing up, because I felt so ashamed of my fandoms, or not ashamed, but I knew they weren't going to be my passion for something wasn't going to be understood or accepted. It kind of felt like this secret fort kind of feeling, where I would go back and get lost in my fandoms, where I feel like nowadays it's my fuel. I also feel like owning being a fan has really helped me flourish in my professional endeavors. I remember last year, about this time, spring last year, we were talking about finding more intellectual property to adapt into TVs or movies. And I mentioned that I was going to WonderCon. I was going to WonderCon anyway to see friends and interview people for my podcast. What if I went and scouted comics? And that's been a way that I've been able to really distinguish myself and carve a niche for myself and empower myself in my job. That it was a role I created for myself that wasn't originally part of my position. I think the fandom that made me engage in more typical standard fan activities was Spider-Man. Spider-Man is something that is hopefully now more was, so distinctly gendered. And myself, I remember like Spider-Man's a boy movie, and then I saw Tobey Maguire and Seabiscuit, and I loved his performance, and my sister told me he was in that Spider-Man movie she saw, and I remember being like, oh, no, that's a boy movie. And my sister was like, no, I watched it at grandma's house. I really liked it. And then I watched that movie and everything changed. I'm really rediscovering my love of Spider-Girl. I remember I had this magazine that was just like a movie magazine. It was all about the making of Spider-Man 2. And there was this one-page ad that was back issues of comics, and one of the titles was Spider-Girl. And I was like, who is that? Spider-Girl? And so I Googled her, and I found out that she was the daughter of Peter and Mary Jane, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's me. A woman can also be the hero. She doesn't have to just be the love interest, but it meant the world to me that a young girl could be a superhero.